This is the Coach Bryan Moore Show with Opelika head football coach Bryan Moore. And now with Coach Moore, the voice of the Bulldogs, Van Riggs.
Welcome in, playoff edition of the Bryan Moore Show. Van Riggs alongside. We're going to start off with defensive coordinator Adam Massey. And Coach, first off, I know it was good to have an off week. Your group had been banged up. You got some guys back though, healthy, and a big win against Carver. Talk about getting some of those key players back on your defense, and just that was a huge win, and of course, punch ticket to the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys like Lakedrick, who had been out since early in the Auburn game, was able to come back and play against Carver. Guys like Josh Davis, up front, and Carson Riddle. Both of those guys had been, either out or played a very limited amount the 2 weeks before that. So just getting a lot of depth. I mean, that's huge at this point in time in the year. So we're honestly as healthy right now as we probably have been all year, with the exception of playing game one. So that's a good thing, at this point in time of the year.
And I think everybody could see just the impact those guys had coming back on the defense. It struggled a little bit, in the prior 2 weeks, and of course some good teams played in the region. But that was a really good offense against Carver, and the way you held them on that Friday night was pretty big.
Yeah, it was. We knew going in the quarterback was as a dynamic guy as we've seen, in the last couple of years, and so being able to limit the amount of explosives for him, whether it's through the passing game or through the running game, we did a great job, with the exception of the first drive. We missed the tackle and he took it to the house pretty quickly.
Just one tackle too, and he was gone. Was that quick?
He's gone. And the really one of the faster guys on our team was not gaining on him at all. And so, but getting those extra pieces back, I just thought throughout the game we continued to look fresh. And those guys that had been out, they answered the bell and made some plays, for us. And so, just the momentum, of that. A lot of the other guys, obviously they realize, we've been kind of limited and shorthanded with what we had. And so that was a huge point of the ball game, but for us, it allowed us to be able to play some other kids in some different packages and things like that. So really to put the best 11 we could on the field. And so it was a great time. It was a really good ball game that we played.
We've got offensive coordinator J.D. Atkins, who will join us in just a minute. But, when the offense is struggling, quarterback Whit Cooper goes out the first quarter, needed some help scoring. And you've got the pick six, Braden Howard with a big interception there. And then, of course, the stop late, which led to the 3-yard touchdown run from the hammer to really, give you 14 points.
Yeah, it's, at the end of the day, and Coach Murray has told it to his guys, at corner before and really for the whole defense, you can't sit around and wait on one side of the ball. The offensive side or special teams to try to create some momentum, there. We got to go out there and create it, ourselves. And so, it's been that way, the whole year. It doesn't matter. You got one side that goes out. It's a team effort collectively. And so that's the beauty, of it, team sports. That guy goes out, you ultimately got to raise your level a little bit and understand the type of ball game that we got to play, to ultimately be successful and win. And so, Braden made a huge play that completely turned the momentum of that game. Yeah. And it doesn't matter if it's on Saturday, Sunday, or Friday night, you get some momentum in football. It can swing the game quickly.
Well, not only to tip it to himself, up in the air, but to come down with it and then finish it with the run was huge. And we talked to Braden after the game on the post-game show, and he said, it's something he'd watched on film. They ran the play earlier, and he was ready for it.
Yeah, he's probably one of the higher football IQ guys we got. Really intelligent kid who, just embraces all of the notes that we give and the key points that we give in meetings and on the practice field of tendencies and things they like to do. And he's able to go out there and carry it out. And so, he made plays, and that's what we're going to need, this Friday night is those key dudes going to step on. We're going to make some huge stops, so like we did that week, and be able to make some solo tackles because, you're playing Hewitt-Trussville, who's got, they got 3 Power 4 guys, on offense. And so you got to answer the bell again and be ready to go and stop some dudes. And so wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah, absolutely. And Hewitt's going to bring a couple different looks because they've got a couple different quarterbacks that's played this year, actually 3 quarterbacks that's played. So it's kind of, they do different things with different quarterbacks in the game.
Yeah, 100%. You got 15, who obviously was a starter at the first part of the year, who got hurt early on, and they brought him back and I guess slowly worked him in, back to get him back comfortable doing all that. And in the meantime, one of the coach's sons stepped in, number 7, and played. Number 0, his other son will play as well. And so, what you're getting out of them two. You're getting tough, hard-nosed kids that know the offense.
Right.
They know exactly what their dad wants to do. And, them dudes have lived and breathed and ate football for their whole life. It's, my dad was a coach, and so they've probably spent, that was their daycare growing up, was going to the football field. And so, those guys, they operate obviously, 7 and 0, or, probably run it, a little bit more than 15. 15's a good athlete and can run it as well. And so we got to be ready for both of those because, honestly feel like they'll play, both or may play all 3 of them, at some point in time in the game.
Yeah, their coach, Coach Floyd, a longtime coach at Hewitt, been there a long time, but he came from Arkansas. Got a little Coach Malzahn in him. I know there's some connection there with them. So, it's going to be a fast-paced, hurry-up type offense.
Yeah, 100%. It's a lot of tempo. It's a lot of shifts. It's a lot of motions, that they're going to give you to try to get you misaligned, to get your eyes off of what they should be on, and try to hit you with some big plays. Through that. And so they got some dynamic guys. The 2 receivers they got are really good. Both running backs they got are, guys that one guy's committed to Kentucky, the other guy, is an SEC player as well. And so they've got those guys, if you get out of position, that they can hurt you quickly.
Yeah. But I know your guys are prepared with the schedule we played, the area that we played in. Certainly nothing they haven't seen before. Right?
Hey, it's another great challenge.
Yep.
At this point in time, you're not going to face anybody. That's not good.
That's right.
And so, that region up there is highly competitive with some really good teams in it. They come out as the 2 seed, there. And so, it's going to be very similar to some offenses that we've seen in our region, and teams that we've played non-region,
right.
That have had some explosive guys. And so, it's a great challenge. It's something that our guys, ought to get you up for, just going against some guys that got some big time offers in life. You get a chance to kind of get your name out there as well. And so, it's going to be a great one.
All right, that's Coach Adam Massey. We'll let Coach Adam Massey step off for a minute. We'll bring in offensive coordinator J.D. Atkins, of course, who's going to be calling the offense on Friday night as the game goes to Hewitt-Trussville. And here you go again. Yeah, Coach Massey for a while had some guys out. In the offense, you got the quarterback situation again, but stepped up and made the plays, took care of the football when you needed to. And talk about the win against Carver.
Yeah, to me, it really felt a lot like the Pike Road game, right? You get a good, game plan coming in, drive 1 goes really well, march down and score, and then, oh crap, here you go, right? Quarterback's out of the game, and you now you're scrambling, putting together a backup plan, and at that point, trying to play complementary football and play to your defense who's playing really good football and try to be as efficient as possible and end each drive with a kick. And I thought Fuller handled the situation about as good as he could and just kind of managed the offense and kept us in the game. And like Coach Massey mentioned, Braden Howard made an outstanding play late in the game to kind of give us life. And we were able to punch it away and then finish that game. So
I think C.J. Johnson had about 17 carries, right at 100 yards. Boy, how good has he been for this offense this year?
Yeah, he's been outstanding. A couple weeks ago, we challenged him. Coach Landers challenged him, and he stepped up in a massive way. I think back to like the Central game, and then again Carver of just those big tough runs and making some explosives when there's not really a lot of stuff there. And he's elevated his play here late, and look forward to him having another chance to do that again Friday against a really good team. So.
Challenge, I know, will be going on the road. It's going to be a tough environment. I've watched a lot of video in some of their games. They've got a dynamic atmosphere at Hewitt-Trussville. It'll be fun to play in, but how do you embrace that and kind of, take your team on the road and let it kind of play with you, I guess, a little bit?
Yeah, well, again, it's an exciting opportunity for our kids to get to go to a place most of them haven't been, a place most of us haven't been, and a big-time Birmingham environment. And like you talked about with Coach Massey, some of the big-time players you get to play against. And there's no better feel on a Friday night than that big main stage game. And I think this has probably got to be one of the bigger games in round one across the state. And so an awesome opportunity for our kids to go embrace and play in that type of place. So.
Yeah, they have some really talented linebackers. Just watching them on film, their defensive front is good. But linebackers, boy, they fly around. They can make some plays.
Yeah, so the coach's son, number 0, is kind of the guy that makes it all go. Very fast fitter, very good tempos his feet on his feet. Doesn't overrun things, doesn't overplay things. He's always right with his keys and where he's supposed to be. I mean, you can watch him in the Vestavia tape, with all the mixers and eye direction and candy that Vestavia kind of shows you. He doesn't get lost. He's right where he's supposed to be, and he's a very good player. Same on the back end. They don't cut a lot of things loose. They're where they're supposed to be. Very disciplined defense. Coach Talisman and those guys do an outstanding job of making sure their guys are prepared to go. And, we're going to have to be right and have some answers. And our big-time players, like you said, CJ, those type guys, Blake, those guys are going to have to step up and make some plays. Yeah,
you'll know you have to throw the ball some. Sophomore quarterback Whit Cooper doing good, I know. Getting ready for him to get back on the field. I know he's eager to get back as well.
He is. He's a competitor, and he didn't want to come out of that game Friday night. He wanted to go back in, but, precaution and taking care of him, and he's fired up to be back and playing, and excited for him. What an opportunity. I think back, last year with Colby and his experience at Hoover, like Whit getting a chance to go into an environment like that as a sophomore and play, and like no better learning experience and growing experience for that young man, and honestly fired up to see what he does with it.
Yeah, and already a start now at Central and at Enterprise on the road prepares him for moments like this.
No doubt about it. He's got to see some things and go through some things this year, and just the resiliency of him, the maturity of him at a young age. Already talked about his competitive nature, but it's a testament to his parents and the family that they have, and how he's been raised, and just excited about his maturity and his growth.
Talk about the patience, too, of your wide receivers, because I know sometimes when they're not getting the ball, it can be frustrated, but I know they've been blocking. They've had other things to do in this offense.
So frustrating, right? Like, so any receiver, any good receiver wants the football.
Right.
And we try to tell them the same thing, which is, hey, I want you to have the ball, too. Like, we want to spread the ball, but like we said, you get in situations like last Friday where it becomes more about complimentary football and trying to get a win. And our guys know that, and they've bought into that, and they've stayed patient. And they one of the best receiving blocking groups I've been around. The job that Coach Ferguson and Coach Billings do as far as getting those guys locked in and bought into, I'm going to go block 45 times a game and maybe get 7, 8 opportunities to go make a play. And the guys that those guys have done, we got 3 seniors, Jalen Washington, Bennett Young, Andre Van, who have stepped up and been incredible. And then a couple young guys that are pushing for time behind them, like Keelan Banks and Jakari Walton, and even senior Cam Rayleigh, who's played a little bit as well. So the job they've done with that group, as far as, like you said, maintaining a level of patience, but just ultimate buy-in and surrender to Opelika is bigger than me, to what we're trying to do is bigger than my stats, my results, my whatever. So.
And Cam Rayleigh, too, on special teams. Got down the field so quick, he took the official out on Friday night, or the other Friday night.
The official had a tough time Friday night. I think he got ran over maybe once or twice. So.
Well, hopefully he's okay.
Yes, sir.
Right,
yes, sir.
Coach Atkins, good luck Friday night heading to Hewitt-Trussville, okay?
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
All right, coming back next, we'll talk with head coach Bryan Moore as we continue here on The Bryan Moore Show. Back here on The Bryan Moore Show with Coach Bryan Moore. And The Bryan Moore Show each week presented by Glenn Smith Chevy, GMC in Opelika. Get ready to smile right there off exit 62 off of I-85. Well, Coach, here we are, first round of the playoffs. It's almost like a second or third round matchup here in round one, the way the bracket has set up this year. I know there's a lot of conversation and talk about maybe changing it down the road, but right now this is kind of the way it is. That's the Region 2 paired up with this Birmingham region, and you've got a really good team in the first round at Hewitt-Trussville. Just the way you draw it up, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's, and everybody in our region's going through it.
Yep.
And everybody in their region's obviously going through it too. I mean, Auburn, Vestavia, the big one, I guess, Central and Hoover.
First round,
you never get that one in the first round, and I feel like our game is a big time game too.
Yep.
And 2 teams that at some point in the season been highly ranked and been in the conversation as one of the best teams, and so they do a great job. I mean, we have a really good team that we're getting ready to play. A head coach and Coach Floyd that's been there for, 14 years or something. I mean, he's been there a long time. I
definitely
don't know, but he's done a really good job there. And they're extremely talented. I know both the coordinators have talked about their talent and, and their personnel, but they're really, really well coached, and the defense coordinator, Coach Talisman, does an outstanding job. And then I think Josh still calls the plays maybe offensively and does an amazing job. His son is one of the quarterbacks, that play. His other son is the Mike linebacker. It's a challenge. And, we'll have to play our best game. But again, as you said, in 7A playoffs, I mean, the way that it's matched up this year, you were going to get a really tough first-round opponent regardless of who you drew. And so I just hope we play better on the road. I think we will. We've done some things to, logistically to help us with sort of dealing with away-type games, going to Lynette and practicing and, some of those things that we've done over the bye week. We've healed up some through the bye week and really took some time to sort of refresh mentally and physically, which I think was very much needed after 10 games with the teams we play. I mean, all 3 of our non-region teams won their region. And so it's been a grind. And playing the teams that we play every week has been tough. But I'm excited. I'm excited for our kids to continue to play. I thought that the response after 2 really tough weeks in the Carver game was really important. Really, really proud of our kids. Probably in 2 years of being here, most proud of that. The fact that we didn't play well, the 2 games in a row on the road, and then we come home against Carver and play really well. And our fans showed up as we urged them to, and they made a difference in the game. And we had some huge momentum plays in that game. So excited for our kids, excited to pull up these 17, 18, 9th graders and let them practice some with the varsity too and continue to build our program for the future.
Yeah, you go on the road in an environment, I think, of course, didn't go to Auburn this year, went to Central. This may be the loudest, rowdiest crowd you're going to play in front of all year.
Great stadium, great atmosphere. But that's what you love. I think if you're a competitor and you've given yourself a chance to play in a game like this, that's what's exciting. I got through watching, Oregon went on the road and played Penn State and the whiteout and everything. That game was incredible. And I watched kind of the snippets of that and how the messaging of Coach Lanning and how they went through that. And it was really cool. I mean, it can propel you. I mean, it can give you energy. You can feed off the opposing crowd. And that was really cool to hear him and how he kind of talked to his team about that. And so we've used a little bit of that, but we ultimately, Van, we got to go be us. I mean, we got to look through the lens of Opelika. For sure, we do our scout and our due diligence and, our crossover reps and all of our stuff to prepare, and our coaches, the coordinators did such a great job on Sunday and in the bye week too of getting ready for this game. But this is still about Opelika. This is still about that man and what you represent. I know that our community will travel and be great there, and so we'll provide our own noise and our own band, as well. So it'll be a fun atmosphere for sure.
Coach, the type of offense that you run when it works, it travels because you will run the football and you run it successfully. You can kind of take control of the game. For sure. I mean, and that's what we want to do. I mean, I think running the football wins playoff games, and I think stopping the run wins playoff games. I mean, we've not varied from Coach McCracken in the way that Coach Blackman and all that. I mean, that's who we are here. I mean, that's what we're built on, and we feel like what we're built on is with substance. They feel the same way. They got a great team, and so we'll have to play our best game in the trenches. I mean, that's where these games are won because eventually it's going to get cold, it's going to rain. We're going to deal with those things. And they thought I was crazy in February. We're doing our off-season 2-hour practices, and it was like 19 degrees out there in a morning. And we were out there in it, man. We couldn't wear pads or helmets or anything back then, but, we were out there in it. They're like, what are we doing? I said, we're preparing. I mean, this is, last Monday we were out there in that rain, and it was spitting rain all week, early in the week, and we practiced through it. And we said, listen, this is part of it. And so whatever, the hand, that we're dealt, whatever we're dealing with, we're going to continue to look through our lens, man, and be us and, and continue to push and understand that our philosophy and who we are has to matter and has to add up in these kinds of games. I think it's a pretty neat thing you did with your team to kind of take them on the road a little bit for practice. Talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, we're 2-2 on the road. I mean, we're 5-1 at home and, 8 yards away from having a chance to beat Auburn and didn't finish that game, but we've been really good in Bulldog Stadium. Close games against some really good opponents, man. Pike Road, Dothan, Carver, we beat Ben Russell. We beat some good teams at home, man. And so, I thought it was important that we did something different. For me, I'm constantly searching as far as the leader of this program of what can I do to put our kids in the best spot. I don't care where we have to go, and so I called my buddy R.J. McDonald and I said, hey, they're on Eastern time. I said, is there any way around 4 o'clock we can get on the bus and come over there and practice? And we had a 2-hour practice, and a lot of their players were there and coaches, watching and everything, which was cool for them, I think, and cool for us to get to see something new. And they got a beautiful place over there, a turf field, and so we got to practice. And I think, it was like we went through pregame over there. We went through the music and everything kind of warming up, and I said, this is the intro to being at Trussville, at Hewitt-Trussville. And so it was good for us. We had our best practice, and I think it was a unique thing and different. I don't think you can go to the well too many times on that deal.
Right.
I don't want to go search out, all these places to go and practice, but I think it was something good during the bye week and couldn't come at a better time.
Yeah, Coach McDonald saw him last week. He says, oh, Blake's got a good field goal kicker. I said, where did you see him at? He goes, oh, at practice the other day. Yeah. And I'm like, wait a minute now.
Yeah.
How did this happen? And he told me the story, and I was that was pretty good.
Yeah,
so,
no doubt.
Yeah,
it was
definitely.
cool.
Coach, busy week this week. I know the luncheon is back.
Yeah.
First Baptist Church on Thursday. I know invite everybody to come out at noon on Thursday.
Yeah, we're going to bring all our seniors. So all of our seniors will be there, 27 seniors. We're going to recognize them. I said it's kind of like a community banquet. It's not over, but I want them to see you guys before the end of the season. And so it's really cool to be able to, to bring them across the stage and recognize those kids that have poured into this program. And so we'll do that. Our coordinators will come and speak about each one of them and just be about them. We have a lot of different angles and presentations that we go through at that luncheon. And I think it's a cool way to honor those kids and their families there. And then, of course, Friday we got to leave early. So it's a not a super busy week. We're doing like a send-off Friday for our players. One of our things Coach Blackman started was I was here and we started dressing in suits, for the playoff games, and so Friday morning, my wife Lindsay and so many people in our community have poured into like a suit closet, like a nice formal closet.
Somebody could be wearing my suit too.
It could be, Van.
I don't know.
Be.
Yeah.
We got so many cool ones, man.
Yeah.
And so yesterday, their Sunday practice, we were going through, and our kids, after we got done, they were trying on jackets. It's important, man. Look, it's still about the experience. I know I say it a lot, but we're trying to provide something they will remember forever. And I can vividly remember the first time we did that when I was an assistant. And even as an adult, man, when you put a suit on and a tie on, it's business, you know, and so that's what we want it to be. It's one of our keys to victory is for this to be a business trip and not a celebration. We'll celebrate after, but as far as the game and how we operate through it, I think that's really important. So we'll get on that bus at lunch and go to Mountain Brook High School and walk through and then head over to Hewitt and, eat at Jim and Nick's there in town and then be there by 4 and try to control the environment and hopefully the lessons learned at Lynette and how we've talked about this away game issue that we have, maybe we'll get over that hump and play better because we're going to need to. Because again, if this is not the best team we've played, it's right there. So they've got a quality team, great coaching, great atmosphere, but what an outstanding opportunity for our kids to be able to go through Friday night. And
it is playoff football when you get to the stadium and it's dark.
That's awesome, man. Last year, I told this story, man, I think on the show, last year we cut on the lights at practice. Well, they come on automatically, but the kids were like, we hadn't practiced in the dark. I said, you did this last year. And now for the second year, those kids, our seniors this year did it again. And so I just think it becomes who you are, man. It's getting in the playoffs and the expectation you have. Our kids that'll be seniors next year, they've never known any different. Right, and that's what you got to do, and that's how you get there. And then now it's about winning playoff games on the road. Which you talked about the stats in the first round going on the road, which is always really challenging. But again, we'll have to play our best game. But again, what an opportunity for us. Yeah, I think only the 11th time in school history that Opelika has gone on the road in the first round of the playoffs, which is pretty crazy. And in my experience as a head coach, not many times in the first round. We've hosted so many times and thankful, to be able to be at home. But again, if you win this, you have a chance to get back home. And so it's really a flip type deal as last year with Florence and Hoover. It's just kind of backwards. You have opportunity in the second round to get back. So again, got to handle your business, and we'll have to play our best game. Coach, good luck Friday night. Looking forward to it. Don't forget, hopefully we'll see everybody at lunch on Thursday noon, First Baptist Church in Opelika, and we'll see you back next week, hopefully previewing round 2 of the high school football playoffs back here on the Bryan Moore Show.